Good morning. Welcome to Cyber Resilience for All with IBM FlashSystems. My name is Jessica Johnson, and I am a Flash Systems sales leader for IBM. Today, I have the distinct pleasure of co-hosting our cyber resilience discussion with Damian, Singley, and Jason Hardy. DJ is the Executive Director of Enterprise Architecture and System Sales at Mapsys, Inc., a Columbus, Ohio-based national IT consulting firm. And Jason Hardy is the Vice President and General Manager of Rack Squared Data Centers. DJ and Jason, welcome. Please tell us a bit more about yourselves and the company that you work for.
Great. Hey, thanks, Jessica. I really appreciate that. Hey, folks, I work for Mapsys. As Jessica said, national IT consulting firm. We have 5 business units, right? I have the hardware unit. That's my responsibility. We mostly sell a lot of IBM, but other vendors as well, such as Lenovo and some other ones here and there, Dell and whatnot. IBM storage really is a focal for us, so that's really important for you to know that. But we also do a lot of software sales, think Veeam and Microsoft, and of course IBM. IBM is very big in the software space. We have a development organization with about 40 men and women that work here in the United States to help you with all your dev needs, whether it's .NET, Java, mobile, COBOL, yep, RPG, yep. A lot of you folks still use that, so we have that capability as well. We have a full staffing department, so if you're looking for full-time or part-time talent, we can help with that. It's been very, very successful for us. And then, of course, a maintenance organization, so we can maintain all those systems that you purchase through us. So, really important for you folks to understand all the capabilities of Mapsys. We are an ESOP, so that's an employee stock ownership program partner. So that means we all own the company. So that means we should be extra incented to help you and all of our customers with the right IT solutions. And we really can help with just about anything. So after that great intro here, I wanted to kind of set the stage for this conversation here, folks. You're going to hear, I think, something very unique today, right? You're going to hear a 3-way love story of sorts, a professional love story between our 3 organizations, right? IBM, Mapsys, and of course, Rack Squared. And you're going to hear all about how we came together, how we utilize technology to solve real-world problems, and even some of the bumps and the bruises along the way. So I'm excited to now introduce my dear friend and customer to you all, and we'll begin our discussion here. So Jason Hardy, introduce yourself.
Thanks, DJ. As mentioned, I'm Jason Hardy. I'm the general manager of Rack Squared Data Centers. We are a mid-sized data center based in Columbus, Ohio. We've been around for about 13 years. And we deliver everything from basic co-location all the way down to selling by the unit, up to fully managed and outsourced IT solutions. We do have a specialty niche in IBM Power. So we do Intel as well as IBM, but our specialty niche is that IBM Power stuff that's hard to find a data center that will handle that type of solutions. My personal background, I've been in IT for about 30 years. Right out of college, I started at CompuServe in the 90s, and over the last 30 years have had the privilege of working for a lot of great companies, including at one point IBM Security. I landed at Rack Squared about 4 years ago, and I was brought into Rack Squared based on my background, which is product management, product marketing, and sales experience in technology. Really solid team of engineers, architects, and admins already at Rack Squared that had proved out that they could run a data center, keep customers happy, and grow the business. I was brought in to accelerate that growth. So when I joined, I started looking at what our customers were buying and why. I found that the IBM Power stuff was something that when people purchased it, it had a lot of stickiness, customers stayed. So we've really increased our focus there, which has dramatically caused our relationship with both Mapsys and IBM to grow dramatically. They've been partners for years. I came in, kind of added fuel to that fire with the rapid growth of our IBM Power business. So excited to be here and join Jessica and DJ and tell you about not only our business, but how we use those 2 organizations to support our business.
Yeah, thank you so much, both of you. And DJ and Jason, why is a cyber resilience strategy important for your clients? And how do you help them with it? Like, how has the notion of cyber resilience evolved for you?
Yeah, Jessica, I'm glad you asked that question. That's really why we're here, right? Talking about cyber resilience. So I'm going to answer this in a kind of a funny manner, I think. Before COVID, cyber resilience was a great way just to talk to customers, but never really sell any solutions, right? No one was really thinking about it. Nobody was really spending any money on it. And it really wasn't top of mind. Also, we never saw very many cyber attacks. We have a pretty large customer patch at this point, and nobody ever got hurt. So it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't on top of anybody's mind. Now, ever since COVID started, I'm really sad to tell you that, unfortunately, something like 7 of our customers, or maybe 8 now, throughout the last 3 years, have gotten hit by ransomware cyber attacks. That's a large number, I think. And it's also important for you to understand, too, Mapsys can come in and help, and we do, and we did. We really played the role of hero there in all of these organizations. We came in and we got their infrastructure back online, and we play very nicely in our box. It's important for you folks to understand that when you get into trouble and you have a cyber attack and a cyber incident, stop, think, find your partners that are going to help you before you react too drastically or desperately. And somebody like Mapsys can really come in and help you with that. But we also bring in law enforcement and other firms, security firms, that are able to do more analysis on the data and whatnot, and try to track down the bad actors and those folks. So really, really important just to stop and think if you haven't planned accordingly. Now, in every one of these responses, we've leveraged IBM's cyber resiliency strategy and more specifically, IBM FlashSystem's technology to help our customers sort of get out of trouble. There's a technology that's wonderful called IBM Safeguarded Flash Copy. I know, it's kind of a mouthful, right? I keep on saying Flash Guarded Safe Copy, but that's neither here nor there. Understand that it is a logically air-gapped snapshot of your data that's taken on a schedule and then also deleted on a schedule. And if you have that air gap, that logical air gap copy of your data, that safe repository, it'll allow you to recover in minutes with a flash system as opposed to hours, days, weeks, months, even with competitive technologies that may or may not utilize anything like this. So really, in 2023, safeguarded flash copy is table stakes for any technology, any SAN-based technology, which the flash system is, being a SAN, right? For you and your business to maintain cyber resiliency. There's lots of other technologies, and we'll just delve into them a little bit later. But I definitely wanted to throw the safeguarded flash copy, out there. But it's more important to really understand that while before COVID, our customers would not want to spend a lot of cash on cyber resiliency strategy due to their cost, right? With safeguarded flash copy and other technologies we'll talk about, they are largely free and included with the product. And I think you have to really take that into account as you look to see how much money you're going to spend on these solutions. So now, Jason, I know you have another sort of angle on this. What do you think?
Yeah, I mentioned that I worked for IBM Security for a number of years, which put me on the side of the equation where I was selling security solutions, from a vendor perspective, helping message that out to the market. I saw the threats. I was aware of the threats. Again, this was pre-COVID, so we weren't seeing the attacks at the rate that we are today. But none of those things were impacting me personally. I was the marketing guy that was talking about how to solve these problems. I was talking to CIOs about, what keeps you up at night? How do we help you sleep better? What solutions can we give you? When I came to Rack Squared, that role really changed for me. I'm now in the middle of the equation. I am buying services from companies like Mapsys and IBM. I'm then turning around and talking to those CIOs and those IT professionals and trying to reassure them that their data is going to be safe with us and their solutions are going to be, safe in our data center. It created a situation for me where now not only am I trying to figure out what keeps them up at night and help them sleep better, but what's going to make me sleep better. Because being on the sales and marketing side of things, I talk to every one of our customers and I'm telling them, here's how I'm going to keep your business up and running. Here's how I'm going to protect your business. And it's, personally important to me to follow up on that. For these companies, a lot of them are hosting their production environment with us. So we are everything. We've got production, We've got the production data, we've got their backup, we've got their disaster recovery. It all resides with us. There is no place that you fail over to. We're it. So it's very personal for me in thinking about how do I make sure I don't fail these people that, they're my customers and a lot of them have become my friends. When you think about the historical focus of a data center, it was all about resiliency, redundancy, keeping the business up and running. But when we thought about that, it was power, it was air conditioning, it was the internet. People didn't come to a data center because they thought it was more secure. It was a resilient environment. That's still the case. I have to think about that, but the dynamic has changed. So that security is, if it's not above those, it's on par with those. It's no good to have the power and everything up and running if you're not secure. So I'm constantly thinking now about not only the backhoe and it digging up, telco and power, but the other side of the equation, which is cyber attacks. So it's dramatically changed our business, how we look at it and how we try to predict where's the next attack coming from. Because as hard as we work to prevent, we're working based on what we've seen while they're out there working on what they've seen and trying to find a way around everything we've done.
Yeah, Jason, that's a ton of responsibility. And I know, like maybe we could talk about how IBM's approach to cyber resiliency, for example, the flash system storage, it's keeping data secure, and really all businesses of all sizes can benefit from these features and technologies.
Yeah, for sure, Jessica. Yeah. So IBM's flash systems have a ton of capability, but it goes far beyond that when you talk about IBM's total security posture. Let me introduce you to IBM's Cyber Vault strategy, right? So this is kind of, I think, a unique strategy in the marketplace today because IBM really offers a smorgasbord of different products and capabilities in their cyber vaulting strategy. Flash system is a key one for us at Mapsys here, but it goes far, far, far beyond that. And it also could include other vendors, right? If you already have some solutions that play in this space from other vendors and it works for you, then you continue using them, right? But IBM has backup products such as IBM Defender and IBM Storage Protect. We have the very best SIM product in the market called QRadar. If you haven't seen it, it ranks the very, very best in Gartner's Magic Quadrant. So if you need that capability, IBM can supply just about everything you need for your total cyber strategy. So let's focus in a little bit more on the flash system because I think that's one of the most unique ways you can really keep a high cyber posture going forward in 2023 and 2024. We've talked about the technologies of safeguarded flash copy. Again, most of this stuff that you'll see in the flash system product line is free, meaning it comes with the product. There are no extra licenses or anything you need to purchase on top of the base software and the hardware that you purchase with the unit. Safeguarded flash copy, immutable snapshots, really, really important. We have something called TPI, which stands for two-person integrity. And this is a really cool, another example of a really cool technology. Two-person integrity is simply the fact that you need two admins to approve any change on your storage, on any change in your flash system SAN. So that means admin one goes in there and he decides to delete all the volumes because he's actually a hacker trying to destroy your environment. Well, admin two needs to go in there and say, yeah, I approve of deleting. Wait, I'm not going to approve these deletions because that's going to destroy the entire environment. I got to go talk to admin one and see what happened. Oh, wait, he's been on a vacation for the last 2 weeks. Obviously, we have been hacked and I've got to do other things and start ringing the bells. So that's a really, really important technology. We really, really like it a lot, and customers are now deploying that as well. And another technology that just came out in the firmware, again, free updates to IBM storage. Now, I'm not going to promise they're always going to be free, but they are now, is the AI anomaly detection. This is the capability of scanning every 100th write IO and looking through Watson enhanced AIs and other things to see if you see any anomalies, right? Do you see any ransomware signatures and other things? So great technology. We're now starting to roll out to our customers, and Jason will eventually roll this out too, right? Obviously, it's brand new technology. We want to wait a couple months or 6 months or so to make sure everything's stable and all that. But so far, it's looking very, very good. But again, with the IBM cyber vaulting strategy being a smorgasbord of technologies, you can take and pick what works for you, which is important, and you can even use other vendors. IBM brought us one such vendor called Racktop Systems, right? They brought it to us and said, this would be a really nice add-on for anything that you sell with IBM FlashSystems. Racktop, real quick, is the world's only software-defined storage cyber NAS appliance, and it's awesome. You couple that with IBM storage, cyber vaulting capabilities, and you are very, very secure with your NAS environment. So very, very, very good for us. So lastly, I'd like to mention that Jason, being a good partner of ours and a customer of ours, continually asks me and my team, hey, DJ, what are the new things that are coming out in the technology landscape with IBM FlashSystem, which this is now our preferred, go to market strategy with their storage. What are the new features that we can leverage? So I've continually brought to him all the newest features, like the things I just talked about to you, but I think it kind of is more exciting for him at this particular time because he can actually use these features and these functionality to actually productize them and offer it to his customers and make them more secure. And I think that's pretty cool. Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, the IBM Cyber Vault strategy has been really interesting for Rack Squared and our customers. And the fact that it really represents multiple layers of security that can be implemented based on individual customers' business needs and risk tolerance. That not everybody can afford all 5 layers of security. Not every organization needs all 5 layers of security, or however many there are. So we're able to go talk to customers about what their concerns are, what their budgets are, what their needs are, and really shape a solution that fits specifically what they need. So we've been using the IBM FlashSystem for just over a year now, and we have made the security features that are built into it or are available through it part of our account management calls with all of our existing customers. So every customer we talk to, we're talking to them about new features that are available and things they can do to better secure their environment. So, existing customers are hearing it. New customers, it's obviously something we use to differentiate what we're doing, because we really believe that what we have available through the Flash system, uniquely positions us compared to other cloud service providers. So it's something that's it's been a significant part of our message to customers and has been very well received by everybody that we talk to.
Yeah, I love that. Jason, can you give us a sense of how you decided on IBM for your recent storage infrastructure? I think that's a really great story, and I'd love for you to share it here.
Yeah, there's definitely an interesting story here. Before I get into the how, it's kind of important to understand how we manage the infrastructure at the data center.
Okay.
Everything we do from an infrastructure standpoint, hardware and investment standpoint, is done on an operating expense model. So what we want to have is the flexibility that every 3 to 5 years, we can look at the technology we're using. We can extend the use of it if it's still the right thing to use, or we can change. It gives us the ability to look at new technologies, new vendors, and do a refresh on a periodic basis. In 2022, our big focus was looking at the storage infrastructure and where we were going to go with that. I mentioned we had a long-term strategy, or have a long-term strategy with Mapsys and IBM, a relationship with them. But at the time, we were not buying our strategic storage system from Mapsys and IBM. We were using another vendor. I have a large installed customer base that when I go to change infrastructure, I've got to maintain cost parity. These customers have long-term contracts, fixed fees, and I can't just absorb the increased cost of new infrastructure. I have to be able to pass that along to my customers, and I can't do that mid-contract term. So, being cost competitive is really important to me. So I asked our guys, I want you to do a traditional RFP, go out, get multiple vendors. We need feature parity, and we need to be as close to our current cost as we can. Gave that to my team, asked them to go do that. And they went out, did it, got the results, summarized everything. They brought me the report. And the biggest thing I noticed, right away was, where's IBM? IBM was not on the list. And it was shocking to me for 2 reasons. One, IBM's a tier one provider of storage. Why would we not talk to them? Why are they not on this list? Did they not respond? That wasn't the case. Two, Mapsys and IBM are strategic partners of ours. I talk to DJ multiple times a week. How did we not include them? And the answer I got from my team was, we've looked at them before. They're too expensive, so we didn't waste our time. And that was surprising to me. It just, the whole thing, it was fathomable to me that they weren't on the list. So I told my guys, look, with the relationship we have, I can't make this investment and not have talked to DJ and not have at least given him an at-bat. So the RFP went back out to IBM and Mapsys. And when it came back, I've got to tell you, I was completely shocked when the response came in. It was incredibly competitive priced. The feature parity that I needed was there. And when DJ sat down and presented the solution to us, those were the table stakes. You've got to come in and be competitive. And I told him going into it, you have to be competitive on this to win this business. I want DJ to win my business. He's a strategic partner to me. But you gotta put your money where your mouth is and come in and actually win the business, because for my role, I've got to do the right thing for myself and my customers. When he sat down and talked about the features and functions that were available, and he talked about the security things that were coming, that were available and that were coming in the future, it was a game changer for us. It was something where we saw the ability to take storage from a commodity item to a real differentiator for us, and something that we could go out, make a difference in our customers' business, and make a difference in how we sold value to customers. So it was an interesting story of how we got there. Took the long way around to get IBM into it, but it paid off significantly for us to make sure that we included IBM in the RFP process.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Jason. That's an incredible story. In that, I think as IBMers, we know that we do sometimes, struggle in the sales cycle with perception. And here, I think that, your story shares that the relationship that you have built and the trust and, with Mapsys allows us to come in and have a chance at your business. But at the same time, dispel that perception that, that we're too complicated or too expensive, and that's really not the case. And you're kind of heading that up right here, and I really appreciate that.
Yeah, that perception part, Jessica, I think is probably the thing that I'd like to zero in real quick. And that with Mapsys here, we haven't lost an IBM storage deal in probably 2.5 years to price. I mean, it is not an issue anymore. IBM has come to play the game, and boy, do they play it. They play it, I think, incredibly well. Not only are they the most cost competitive, I think they're also bring the speed to the table, right? Yeah. IBM, one of the only vendors that ever publishes benchmarks, so you can actually compare what IBM does compared to other vendors. And it's. I'll talk a little bit about the technology in a little bit, but yeah, it's pretty exciting. Very fast.
Pricing out there, yeah, it's available to you to do your online shopping. We'll mention that later. So. With all of that said, right, with how you got to the solution and the parity and the additional features, how did you architect the solution that you requested to meet your cyber resilient business needs, that of Rack Squared and your clients?
Yeah. Simply put, man, it's just a whole bunch of magic and pixie dust, and I can't tell you that's my secret sauce. No, I'm kidding. I'll tell you all about everything, right? It's fine. So. Architecting solutions is a passion of mine, and a lot of the architects here at Mapsys, especially working with the architects at our customers at Rack Squared, right? So for the instance of safeguarded flash copy, right, technology like that, while free, it does require more capacity on your flash system or your SAN to actually implement it correctly, right? And that could range from somewhere between 20 to 50%, and even more in some cases, depending on exactly what we're protecting, how we're protecting it, how long we're protecting it, and do we want to save any forensic evidence for law enforcement, that kind of thing, if we were to get attacked. So you have to take all that into account. So yes, it does drive more storage capacity purchase, right? However, with the price point of the storage, it really has been a non-issue for the vast majority of our clients and customers. So, like for instance, when we responded to Jason's RFP, we were able to provide more capacity in our solution to enable safeguarded flash copy for the right price. So, I mean, that was important for him and for us. But it goes beyond that, right? So IBM has a technology called the Flash Core Module, right? And I'd be really remiss and not doing my job if I did not mention the Flash Core Module technology. This is an IBM only thing. The IBM engineers, and I used to be one, so I understand what it's like to sit down and do the neener stuff every single day and come up with an awesome product, right? Although my days are way in the past. So these folks, these engineers at IBM really came up with a whiz-bang solution to storage in the Flash Core Module. If you haven't heard before, let me be the first to introduce you to it. IBM is now in the disk drive business again, baby. And they're in it in a big way in the Flash Core modules. They only sell it to IBM internal solutions. So the only way you can buy a Flash Core module, which is an NVMe attached drive, is through an IBM FlashSystem. It's a wonderful technology. It includes lots of security features built in. I'm not going to get into any of them there. It also includes 2x or even greater, up to 3 or 4x data compression built into the module itself. It's in the data path. It's enabled with an FPGA. If you don't know what that is, Google it. You're going to be impressed. No other technology out there from Micron or from Samsung, the way the other vendors utilize storage or buy storage and provide it to their customers, includes any of this type of protections and gee whiz bang features, right? It's also one of the reasons IBM can be so price competitive, because there is no middleman, right? This comes directly from IBM. It's an IBM product that has an IBM stamp on it, and it's pretty great, right? So that's a big deal. I've mentioned that the price competitiveness is so great that we haven't seen many decisions going against the IBM product line based on price in the last 2 or 3 years. And that is really telling, I think, of how competitive IBM is in the market. But I think when we talk about cyber resiliency, it goes beyond just talking about all these great cyber resilient products that help you keep your system online when it comes to hacking, right? That's a big concern. But what about the everyday hardware failure or a bad firmware load or something like that, right? IBM has got your back here as well. IBM is one of the only companies out there that can offer you a 100% uptime guarantee with something called HyperSwap. It's a cool name, right? HyperSwap. So what it really means is since these products are so price competitive, you could literally bring in 2 of them, put them in a cluster, and then offer your customers or your business a 100% written guarantee from IBM itself that this storage won't go down. Now, that doesn't mean you can go into the back of both units and pull out all the power and be like, hey, look, there's no power. It should stay up, right? That was what the guarantee said. It's nothing like that, right? But, it will protect you from any hardware faults or firmware faults or anything like that you may experience with the units themselves. So very, very cool technology and backed 100% by IBM. Additionally, we have something that helps us with our architecture called a CRAT. I've got to be very careful I say this, right, guys? CRAT. Can't mix up that last T and put a P. That would be bad. It's IBM, right? It's the alphabet soup, and that's what it is. We love to shorten everything. So a CRAT is a cyber resiliency assessment tool. And what this is I can bring in a whole cadre of IBMers to sit down with my customers. These guys are experts, and we will do an interview with our customer to find out where there are some exposures in the cyber realm, right? Where do they have problems meeting their cyber, guarantees or their where they want to go with their cyber resiliency protections. Yeah. So a CRAT is a very important, I think tool for us. It's free to all of our customers. We just simply need to sponsor them to IBM, and then we can get them on board with a CRAT. And in fact, Jason and Rack Squared went through a CRAT recently. And I think we're going to review this, Jason, here in a couple of days or maybe next week or something. But let me be the first to, I guess, pre-announce your score. I mean, I think the IBMers told me that they have never seen such a high CRAT score on anything they've ever evaluated before. So congratulations. And we'll see more about it next week.
Thanks, DJ. I'm definitely looking forward to seeing those assessments now that you kind of hinted that they're maybe better than expected. So that's exciting. And talking about our architecture and how we deliver services, we operate 2 flash systems in 2 different data centers. And what we're doing is basically we're doing real-time replication between them so that as customers are performing work, their data is being replicated to an offsite data center in near real time. So in the event something happened to our primary data center, we do have that remote copy of their data so we could recover at that secondary data center if necessary. I mentioned that we're on an operating expense model. I mentioned we were doing a migration. Our focus was on migrating from the old system to the new system. So that was the number one focus for us, get the systems migrated so we can return the old system. As we were doing that, we were having conversations with DJ and the IBM engineers, and this was it took weeks and weeks to get all the data replicated and do this migration. And during that time, we started talking about some of the other features that were available, and Hyperswap was one we started discussing. And that 100% guarantee, hits home pretty quick. Of seriously, you're going to guarantee 100% availability. It got us interested in that. And the thing we were missing from our resiliency strategy was data resiliency in the primary data center. The flash system is very resilient itself, but worst case scenario, if something happens to that, we were going to be forced to migrate all customers to the other data center to bring them back because that's where their data was residing. So as I talked to DJ, we set up a proof of concept. I said, for me to do this, this is a significant investment. You got to show me this thing works. It's got to go flawlessly. So they installed it, configured it, tested, and once it was all up and running and we had data, being replicated to it, copied over to it, and the Hyperswap was in place, we started breaking it at the very smallest incremental spot, and then slowly working our way up. And each time we did, it worked. And we literally got to the place, and this was the scary thing, was let's unplug this thing. Let's give it a hard crash and see what happens. And fingers crossed, scary time. We unplugged it. It switched. Everything worked. And that sold it for us from a technology standpoint. We're like, this really works. So it was very cool to see that feature work, test it, and prove itself out. As a small organization, I've got a number of architects and engineers that they're very focused on bringing new customers on. They're focused on supporting the existing infrastructure, and they're looking around the market for new features and functions. But we don't have a large enough staff to hit all the vendors all the time, everything they've got coming. And we really do rely heavily on DJ to bring those stories to us. So I go to him and say, what's going on? It's just that wide open. What are you seeing out there, DJ? You talk to a lot of people. What are you seeing? He comes back to us with a lot of cool things from IBM. And, he mentioned Racktop. That's something he brought to us that we've implemented. So, he's been very critical to us in bringing us, some insight into what's coming in the market.
Yeah. Jason, since you mentioned Racktop again, this is a technology that IBM brought to us to say, hey, it would really be unique to to implement with your flash systems, and boy, is it ever. And let me just give you a quick 411 on the Racktop, folks out there, just so you understand what it can do for you. As a NAS solution doing CIFS and NFS, it can give you audit logging capabilities for anything that you may happen to a file, delete, change, whatever view, anything like that. It will protect you from theft. So think Edward Snowden walking out of your environment with all your sensitive data. And it will also protect you using AI and advanced heuristics against any of the ransomware attacks. So if it sees any encryption going on the device, it'll stop it cold and allow you to restore, and also go figure out where you had this problem. This is a technology that goes great again on IBM Flash systems. In fact, we have multiple customers implementing this on flash system arrays, and we do some really, really cool advanced things with it, and how we enable a customer through IBM Flash Systems technology to recover should anything happen with their Racktop environment. And I just love it. It's really neat. It's really advanced, great technology.
Yeah, I love that you brought that up, and I really think, Jason, that show me effect, right? I love that testimonial that they, you pretty much killed it. And I think that's a fantastic story to tell here. As we look at your implementation, how did you implement the security capabilities that were provided with the Flash system? And then how did DJ and Mapsys enable you to do that?
Yeah, that first step, that show me, all important show me, proved out the technology. But at that point, I had to build a business case for investing in another flash system, a third flash system. My business model is different than most people that are attending today. That you have to look at, when you're looking at these features and functions and loss of data, you've got to go through your recovery time objective, recovery point objective, the cost of downtime to you, and figure out where that investment makes sense. For me, I've got all these customers that I've got to be able to justify. These services have to be valuable enough that I think people will pay for them. So we went through the business case and we looked at everything in our data center and said, what could we recover from? What could we not? And this was the thing that stuck out, that said, if we lost this flash system, we would be in a world of hurt. So as a business, there was value to me in just having it, that I can't put the business in that situation. But then when you started looking at individual customers, I needed features that they were going to be attractive to them, that they were willing to invest in for their business. And again, their production environment, they've got their production, their backups, their DR, everything with us. So it became I think this is valuable to my customers. I don't ever want a customer to perceive me as selling fear. That's not my goal. And I like to frame it, and maybe this just makes me feel better, as awareness. But right. But nobody wants to have a fear monger come talk to them. But what I want to do is talk to my customers about the current market. And as confident as I am in what my team has done and what we've built, I know that there's people out there working as hard as we are to break what we've done. And I want my customers to be aware that we don't know what the next attack vector is going to be, how they will attack us. So at least give them the information they need to make that decision of what level of investment they want. I've got a variety of solutions now that I can offer you. I feel very good about those solutions and what they do to increase your security. I've got public utilities. I've got a energy company out of Mexico City. I've got a very small energy company from Central Ohio that, if something happens to them, it's impacting customers. It has a significant impact. I want each of them. The local one has 500 gigs of data with me, very little. The other one has terabytes of data with me. They each have different needs. I want to make them aware of the risk that's out there and be able to let them make an educated decision of, do I want to make further investment to protect this? So I really feel good about the solutions. I feel good about the story I have for customers. And it does make me feel better to be able to tell them, here are things you can do, and they can make the decision for themselves. Is it in my budget? Is it not? Do I implement one or multiple of these items? So it's a great story.
Yeah, I think it is, Jason. I think you have a good one, really good one for sure. That POC, that show me attitude that you have, I think is really important for a lot of customers, because they all sort of have it. They all want to see this stuff work in their own hands and data centers. And I want everyone out there to know that we can do that. We can absolutely show you this technology working, either in an IBM solution center or even on site by what we did with Jason, shipping him a trial box or a proof of concept box, and then testing it out, unplugging it, plugging it in, seeing where it breaks or if it breaks. And in our case, it doesn't break. But also, that's part of our continuing education that we do with all of our customers. So if you're working with a partner out there, folks on the webinar here, and you don't have a partner that's really sitting down with you once a month or once every other month, or how about once a quarter, right? And just talking to you about all the new technologies, right? Business partners like myself and Mapsys, we get a lot of education from all of our vendors, IBM being the main one, right? And there's a lot to brain dump to our customers. And it's important to show you all the newest stuff. In IBM FlashSystem's case, that's twice a year I get to sit down with Jason and say, guess what just came out in the firmware? And also, usually it's free. you get to use it, right? You just get to use it. I mean, the deduplication that came out years ago, when the customer found that, he was just jumping over the moon. I can't believe I got this stuff for free. Well, I could charge you for it if you want, but it's free, right? Let's not do that. Lastly, also, most competent, business partners also have the ability to tap into a demo box within their infrastructure or within IBM. So this is really unique too, because if you're typing away and doing some really interesting things with your storage and you don't really know how it's going to react with your production data, let's not do it with your production data. Jason and every other customer out there, let's just play with our demo box in our data center or one of IBM's demo boxes, make sure we understand how it's going to work, and then we can do it on your production data. So that's, again, another value add that Mapsys brings to our customers that other business partners just may not do. So
I think that this conversation resonates with me so much, Jason. And I'll tell you that as a seller, I was a seller of storage and tape systems, the whole portfolio for the state of California for 14 years. And I always think about the products and the solutions, about going to bed at night. Like, is my clients that are hospitals going to stay up? Will their emergency rooms stay up based on what I've sold them? Or, I want to have confidence in what I sell and what I do. And the ability to know that the flash systems and the storage does what it says it's going to do, and that when it doesn't, I have the right team. But then at the same time, our capability to get together with the product leaders within IBM to have customer voices be heard. All of that is one of the reasons why I came back to be a flash leader for IBM, is because I believe in this so much. So I'm really having a wonderful time going through this with you guys. And I wanted to ask you, it sounds like we talked about a lot of industries in which we can play in, based on what, you mentioned as far as your clientele. Can you talk to us a little bit more about how DJ and Jason, the IBM ecosystem caters to different businesses with like various, different needs for storage around scalability or adaptability?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question, because this conversation with IBM isn't just limited to something called FlashSystem. It's one heck of a product. It's a Halo product. It's awesome. We sell these things like Tic Tacs, man. Everyone gets one, like Oprah on the stage. You get one and you get one and you get one, right? They are a great piece of technology, but IBM as a company goes far beyond flash systems. They play in the object and the file space as well. And there are lots of other technologies that we bring to bear in like the HPC space, high performance computing. And in those spaces, we have other technologies that we like to talk about. Really technologies that begin at like the half a petabyte or maybe even petabyte scale, where you can really leverage them and take advantage of them. And like, for instance, HPC. Almost every HPC cluster you've ever seen or ever heard of in the world today runs on something called IBM Storage Scale. I know it's a weird name, right? Where'd we get that? Wasn't it called something else before? Yes, it was called IBM GPFS. Wait, more alphabet soup. What's that stand for? Okay, so it stands for General Parallel File System. And when I was a kid, this thing was invented. IBM was the first company ever to invent a parallel file system. And this is the product that they've been carrying along ever since that stage. And this is why it's deployed so very widely. And of course, Mapsys supports GPFS or Spectrum Scale or Storage Scale or whatever we call it these days for all of our customers that need it. And indeed, we do sell tens of petabytes a year of this particular solution. It's a wonderful solution. It's the highest performing in the industry, and it's great. But it's not the only one, right? IBM bought Red Hat. Red Hat has an open source solution for file and object as well, and that's Ceph. Ceph is the new kid on the block, the latest and greatest, and I'm sure we'll be doing a lot more solutions with Ceph in the future. But again, you probably need to start around half a petabyte or so with solutioning on that particular stage. But again, Flash System is our sort of bread and butter here at Mapsys, the block solution for our customers. And we talked a lot about cyber resiliency today and how to protect against the bad actors and the bad guys. Well, what about the hardware failures, right? Well, we did talk about that a little bit with HyperSwap. But HyperSwap is kind of neat, and I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier, right? You put two machines into a cluster. Well, that's another way IBM can show their scalability chops, really, is with these clusters. Not only can you put these machines in a cluster and enable HyperSwap, but if you run out of juice or space or performance or whatever happens to be in your current IBM flash system, just bring in another one, cluster them. There's no lift and shift. There's no throwing away your investment. There is just adding to your investment. How about 2 or 3 or 4 or more machines into a cluster, in an advanced cluster, and continuing growing your storage footprint in an economical sense that way. It's unique in the industry. There's only one other vendor or so that does this type of expansion. And IBM does it really, really well. So when most people in the block space say, hey, I got a dual controller design, is active-active, IBM says, so what? We have a dual controller active-active advanced cluster. You got that? Most people say no. So it's just another way of IBM showing their very large depth and breadth in the industry here in the storage space, and enabling things that customers may not have been able to use in the past, and keeping the cost reasonable.
Yeah. Jason, what do you think?
The way we purchase, I mentioned an RFP, we didn't go to DJ and ask for a specific product. We went to the vendors with technical requirements, performance requirements, storage space requirements, and let them come back with a solution and design a solution for us. One of the differences in my business model is different than a lot of those that are listening. My storage can change dramatically week over week, day over day, month over month, based on the next opportunity we sell. The next person who calls in could have gigabytes, terabytes, or petabytes of data. I need to have that scalability to support those needs. So that's been really important to me that we have that. And DJ came back with a solution that fit where we were today, but also gave us a path for growth, that if we need to, it's a scalable system. From a technology standpoint, we were using spinning disk before. We did not write an RFP for flash. We had business requirements that flash met. One of the things we did not foresee was we replaced a storage system that took an entire rack. I mean, it was a phone booth in our data center, and we now have 2U in a rack dedicated to that storage. So the savings for us in heat and power is huge. So the scalability of the systems has been, it's really key for us in knowing that, even if I had to double my footprint, I'm at 4U. I've got an entire rack that's freed up in my data center. It's significant.
Yeah, that's incredible. I know that we ensure that our storage solutions remain competitive, not just in price or price performance, but also in terms of integration, security, resiliency, all the power, output, et cetera. Can you share how often you see new features or firmware updates coming in around the systems that you have in-house today? DJ, what does that look like?
Yeah. I certainly can. I can't talk about all the new features coming up. I think somebody from IBM would be mad at me. Yeah, that's right. Plus, maybe they don't tell me all the new cool things because they know I have a big mouth. I don't know. I'm kidding. But generally twice a year we see new features and function and updates from IBM in the firmware space. And again, almost all this stuff is free to our customers. I want to say almost all of it because I'm sure in the future there'll be something so cool that they'll want to charge for, or maybe not, right? But largely you're not paying any more for any of the cool new stuff, and you just get to use it as an IBM customer as long as you're under active maintenance. How great is that? It is really, really great. I do want to mention one other thing too, which is I think unique to IBM, right? IBM is a very transparent company. Right, they're very transparent on their roadmap and their features and when they're going to drop and if they're going to be late, which they've never been really late, maybe a couple days late on these firmware updates. So it's very easy to benchmark IBM about how well they're doing here, and IBM does a great job. FlashSystem, great product, right? But they also go much farther than that. Once a year or twice a year, IBM has tech conferences where they invite technologists such as Jason and I and all you folks on the phone and CIOs and whatnot. We get together in a great space like Orlando or Vegas, and we have a few cocktails together and we talk. And one of the sessions they always have is something called Birds of a Feather. I don't really get the reference exactly. It might be something more English based, but
they flock together.
They flock together, I suppose, right? Yeah. And what they do in this session is that they continually air all of the bugs and the errata that they found in the last 6 months of using the product with the customers there. Have you ever seen another organization that does that? I think that's really unique and really important because you can see the quality of the people at IBM, the engineers that design this stuff and care about it. And it's just really neat. So I don't know, Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll keep it short because I know we're closing in on the end of the hour. But from my perspective, you know, I've liked what I've seen. I love having access to you and the Mapsys team to bring me that roadmap from IBM and just continue to reassure me that there's somebody out there constantly looking forward at the enhancements and the things my business and my customers are going to need.
Yeah. Yeah. And I appreciate that. I think when we talk about, what excites you around, continuing innovation, that IBM has around cyber resilience, what really stokes you and gets you thinking about, the next quarter out or what you might be bringing to your client in the next year?
Yeah, I'm uniquely excited with IBM. I really am. I was recently having a lunch with a couple of my buddies from some competing outfits, and we were talking about safeguarded flash copy, how a lot of folks have varying implementations of that, and it's really important for almost all vendors to offer that type of thing. And if you're using a competitive vendor and you're not using their technology, you should. I'm just telling you right now, start using it, or look at IBM solutions, and I'll definitely help you there. But talking to them a little bit more, talking to them about the AI anomaly detection, everybody was like, what is that? That's not even on the roadmap for us. You just came out with that? Really? IBM did? Yeah. So it was really shocking and neat and cool. A lot of vendors out there will do sort of offline anomaly detection on a flash copy or a snapshot, and that's important. IBM, of course, does it too. And I don't want you to think that you can get away from that for your production workloads, your prize workloads. I think you should always do that if you're currently doing that. I think this is a technology, AI anomaly detection in the flash system, that can be layered on top of that. So again, it's just more value that IBM brings to the table, and they largely do it for no extra cost. So really unique, really cool. So
Jason, what do you get excited about?
As we look forward, I mentioned we're a year into the flash system. IBM, in 3 to 5 years, we will be looking again at what's the right technology for us to use. And as much as Mapsys and IBM are our strategic partner, they'll have to win our business again. History says, IBM is out there at the forefront. Having worked in IBM security, a lot of great people, I loved being a part of IBM while I was there. It gives me a lot of reassurance that as I look forward, there's going to be that innovation. I'm excited, not just the things that I know are coming, but what are people looking at that we haven't even considered? As a data center, as I said, the model has changed. It's not just staying up and running. I can be up and running, but if I'm not secure, I'm not going to be in business for long. So, that constant focus on security, from a storage standpoint, everything can be up and running. If I lose the storage, if I lose the data, game over. So, that's the key for me. We've got to protect that data.
Yeah, it's so true. Without data, right? If you don't have it protected, you have nothing. Is that what you say?
Yeah, that's exactly.
Okay, so we have talked a lot about data storage, how it's transformed, and been a simple repository to an integral part of data value generation. But what about when it needs to just be cheap and deep?
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good question, because don't let all these advanced functions and features scare you away. We have plenty of customers, including Jason, that need cheap and deep for backup repositories and whatnot. And IBM can do that too, right? 100 terabytes, 200 terabytes, 300, 500, whatever it needs to be with spinning disk. It is remarkably inexpensive when you look at it. So, and it comes with all those features most of the time that we've been talking about today. So it's great. Also, I could share all my street pricing with you. Wouldn't that be pretty great? If you go to flash.mapsys.org, you can see our street pricing. And that's been pretty valuable as a sales tool for us. And they can largely compare that with other vendors right away and see where we are. And I promise you that street pricing will be even under those street prices when you see our actual quotes. So street pricing is pretty great. So anyway, Jason, what do you think about cheap and deep?
Yeah, we have, the flash system I mentioned has been in place for just over a year. We've had IBM storage in the data center for years. We have unique business cases where customers need cheap, I don't want to say low performing, doesn't have to be high performing storage. And we have those business cases come in all the time where we just need to hit a price point for someone that I've got long-term storage needs. I'm not going to access it often. What can you do for me? And, I go to DJ and say, here's what I'm looking for. We've got a platform where we need to expand it. We expand it. And we're constantly, making tweaks to that platform, adding capacity to it and looking at options based on, a unique customer scenario.
Yeah. I think it's great that it can be a solution for all environments, right? It isn't just specific to something that seems, complex, but for all customer needs and scenarios. I was wondering, Jason, can you share some of your experience migrating to the IBM FlashSystem technology? I know that we've been talking about our love story, and I think this brings a little bit into it where we talk about maybe where there might be a bump, and maybe we can, equate that to our love story and how that came around for you.
Yeah, 30 years in technology, if it's taught me anything, it is, technology is going to fail at some point. Things aren't going to work the way that's expected. Every customer I talk to, or most customers I talk to, we're talking about a migration. And I always remind them early in the sales process that this is a migration. Something is going to go different than we expect. And our migration to the new flash system wasn't any different. Whether you're migrating between platforms with one vendor or between vendors, there's going to be something unexpected that you didn't plan for. The key is how you overcome those issues. And in our scenario, we were migrating off of a platform that had to get out the door and back to the leasing company by a certain date. We hit some bumps between Mapsys and IBM resources. We were able to quickly overcome those, finish the migration in the time frame that was necessary, and get that equipment returned by the deadline that existed. So for us, we know there's going to be bumps. From a relationship standpoint, this is what I'm telling my customers that they get with me. This is what I want from my vendors. I want to know that when things get bumpy, I've got a vendor that's going to be there and is going to help me through it. And in this migration, that was absolutely the case. We had bumps. They weren't major. They weren't things that had us really questioning the decision. They were just things that said, hey, we didn't see this. So that was huge, having that support.
Yeah. Thank you. I really appreciate you sharing that. And DJ, anything you want to mention?
Yeah. Just to follow that up. I mean, listen, I told you before, IBM is very transparent. Here's a little bit of dirty laundry, right? The quality of the people that we were able to leverage from IBM came in and helped Jason and his team, and we got past it. And that's what IBM can do for you. I mean, it's an amazing organization, right? My father, as an aside, was a 32-year IBMer, and he always used to say, "No one ever got fired for buying IBM." Period. That was his thing. He's a real company man, let me tell you. I think that old adage.
We bleed blue.
Yeah, that's right. I think that old adage still holds true today.
I agree with you. Yeah, I do. Jason, is there anything else there?
Yeah, just the fact that we're based in Columbus, Ohio. There's lots of Fortune 500 companies headquartered here. I know who DJ's customers are. He's selling to the biggest of the big. He's selling to, relatively small, and then I'm selling to really small. And we're able to take that flash system, and where he needs it with the biggest of the big, it works. Where it works for that tiny little customer that needs 500 gigabytes of storage, it works. It's just, from a price point, it's worked well. From a technology, features, functions, everything about it, regardless of size, it's worked for us.
Yeah, that's a really a great thing to point out, because everything that we have within a flash system is across our entire portfolio, not just in our largest 9500 system, but across the whole family. And so you can be cyber resilient across the whole stack. And it's available to anyone. And I think that's such a key feature of the solution set. And it's open for everyone. I do have a thing here as we're getting to the end and we're going to wrap up. I have one last question for you. Jason, earlier DJ mentioned that you are about to get your CRAT assessment results, and I'm excited to hear what those are. But what question comes to my mind is why did you decide to do a cyber resilience assessment after putting in your solution? What was your thought process on that?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I didn't even know a cyber resilient assessment existed. I went to DJ with a business problem, and I said, DJ, I've got a great team, but there's so much going on. I need to talk to somebody. I need somebody to look at what I'm doing and tell me we're doing it right, or if we're not doing it right, where we need to improve. Again, great team, a lot of faith in my team, but you just don't know what you don't know. And when I presented that to DJ, he came back with this assessment. And, my biggest concern when he did was, what's the investment of time and effort in this? But, DJ handled it for me. He brought the team in. We scheduled, I think we spent an hour or 2 hours talking through the initial pass. And now, they went off, did the pixie dust thing. Man, I ruined my joke there, DJ. Did the magic. They did the magic. And now next week we'll find out the results. So I'm excited to see, what don't we know?
Yeah.
So
yeah. Fun.
You're going to find out here too, right? So, if anything, guys, that maybe I could end there, right? Ooh, this is our call to action, right? Any folks out there that are looking, that are saying, hey, I'd like to, take DJ for a spin, or maybe even Jason for a spin for hosting, right? Maybe start with a CRAT assessment. I can sponsor you, and we can get the IBM team. The quality of people that you will meet from IBM will be mind-boggling. Really, they are wonderful folks, and they really know their stuff, and we're going to show you where you have deficiencies. So if you'd like a CRAT assessment, call me, text me, send me a message, and I'll get that going for you. Love to meet you. Love to see where you are with your cyber resiliency in that journey. And then in closing, right, if you're looking for a great technology partner to purchase whatever you need to purchase from, shameless plug, Mapsys is a great place to do it. And I'd love to be your architect and help you with all that, or someone else from my team. Additionally, Rack Squared, as you can see, Rack Squared is a phenomenal, really stand-up, 100% organization. It's a great place to host your workloads, especially if you have mixed workloads. That includes all your x86 stuff via VMware or Hyper-V, and IBM Power workloads. That would be your AS400 or IBM I, because they had to change the name, and of course your AIX workloads. Wonderful place to host all that, because let's face it, if you need to mix those workloads, there's not a whole lot of options you have out there. And Rack Squared, wonderful option, as you can see. And we often propose Rack Squared services to our customers. So thanks again. I've enjoyed this.
Hey, I really want to thank you, both DJ and Jason, first and foremost, for your continued partnership with IBM and for your time sharing today your IBM cyber resilience solution with IBM FlashSystems. It's been a pleasure talking with you both and spending this time together. I hope that as we go forward, we could talk again. I want to thank everyone who joined the call and who stayed with us. I know we went a little over. Thank you so much for joining us for today's discussion. Keep an eye out for an email from IBM storage team, who will set you up with experts from Mapsys to help you keep your data secure and find the best IBM storage strategy for your company. I'm looking forward to seeing all of you who joined the call on our next webinar in November. And again, thank you very much to our special guests, DJ and Jason. Have a great rest of your day. And I look forward to our continued partnership. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.